Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students of grade 9, welcome to your chemistry class. As you know that we have already started chapter number 6, solution. Now in today's lesson we are going to do the lesson number 2, types of solutions. This topic is mentioned on pages 98 and 99 of your textbook. Now, depending upon different types of solution, we can categorize or classify the solution on different bases. For example, there are main types of solutions which are 3. So, what are the main types of solution we have? There are 3 main type of solution depending upon the solubility of the solute that is dissolved in given solvent at a given temperature. So in this regard we have first type of solution called the saturated solution. Saturated solution. Then we have another type called unsaturated solution. Unsaturated solution. And the third type of solution is called supersaturated solution. Supersaturated solution. यानी ये आपको सुपरमैन की तरह का कोई solution लग रहा होगा, supersaturated solution, but it doesn't seem like that. So another category of solution is depending upon different classes of solution on the basis of amount of solute present in the solvent. Now, depending upon the amount of solute in the solvent, we can also categorize different classes of solution. So, classes of solution is next. So, I am going to make a flow sheet for this purpose as well, and I have 2 types of solution depending on the basis of the amount of solute present in solvent or solution. So first one is dilute solution. Dilute solution. The next one is concentrated solution. Concentrated solution. Not only this, but there are 9 types of different solutions which are according to their physical states. And what are different physical states? As we know that there are different physical states such as liquids, solids and gases. So we are going to categorize or classify different types of solution on the basis of these physical states as well. So this is the short summary of today's topic which we are going to discuss today. Now first I am going to discuss here with the main type of solution, and in this category the first type of solution which I have is saturated solution. Saturated solution. So for this purpose or for this main type of solution, you will start your heading in this way. The first subheading will be the definition of saturated solution. Definition of saturated solution. So what is a saturated solution? A solution or a type of solution that contains or containing the maximum amount of solute, maximum amount of solute at a given temperature, is called saturated solution. is called saturated solution. So saturated solution एक ऐसा solution होता है जिसमें सॉल्यूट की ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मकदार किसी भी दिए गए टेम्परेचर पर हल हो जाती है, यानी एक ऐसा सॉल्यूशन जो अपने अंदर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा सॉल्यूट को डिज़ोल्व कर ले किसी भी दिए गए टेम्परेचर पर, तो ये सॉल्यूशन सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन कहलाता है। जिस तरीके से इसकी मिसाल ऐसे है कि सैचुरेटेड का मतलब होता है सैर शुदा, यानी सैर शुदा से क्या मुराद है? मिसाल के तौर पे अगर आप एक चपाती की भूख रखते हैं, आपको एक चपाती की भूख लगी है, आप खाना खाते हैं और खाना खाने के बाद आपको ये महसूस होता है कि आप दूसरी चपाती भी खा सकते हैं, आप तीसरी चपाती भी खा सकते हैं, तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि अभी आपके पेट में, आपके एब्डोमिनल जो कैविटी है उसमें गुंजाइश है, अभी आपका पेट भरा हुआ नहीं है। लेकिन सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन की मिसाल ऐसी है कि एक ऐसा सॉल्यूशन जो कि भरा हुआ है, सैर शुदा है, यानी उसमें मज़ीद सॉल्यूट की जो है वो गुंजाइश नहीं है। तो ऐसी सूरत हाल जिसमें आपकी ज़रूरत से ज़्यादा खाना मिल जाए तो आपका पेट जो है फ़ौरन फुल हो जाता है, भर जाता है, आप कहते हैं कि मज़ीद मैं नहीं खा सकता या खा सकती। तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में आप सैचुरेट हो गए। आप क्या कहेंगे अपनी बॉडी को कि आपकी बॉडी सैचुरेट हो गई है, अब मज़ीद एक बाइट भी आप नहीं ले पाएंगे। सो इन दिस केस द सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन इज़ सेम लाइक यू, कि आप जिस तरह से सैचुरेट हो गए, आप सैरशुदा हो गए, आप मज़ीद कुछ नहीं खाएंगे। ऐसा सॉल्यूशन जिसके अंदर अगर मज़ीद सॉल्यूट ऐड किया जाए और किसी भी दिए गए टेम्परेचर पर ऐड किया जाए तो इस तरह का सॉल्यूशन सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन कहलाता है, क्योंकि इसमें भी मज़ीद जगह या गुंजाइश नहीं होती कि इसमें सॉल्यूट को ऐड किया जाए। Next heading of saturated solution is the preparation of saturated solution. Preparation of saturated solution. आप saturated solution को कैसे तैयार कर सकते हैं? So for this purpose, I'm going to perform a simple activity or simple experiment by which you can better understand that what is saturated solution and how you will prepare it. To understand the type of solution that is saturated solution, I am performing here an experiment or a simple activity. For this purpose, I have taken a glass in which I will pour water, and in this jar I have already taken salt. So salt will be acting as solute while the water will be called solvent. So another thing which is required in this experiment is a spoon for mixing the salt in water. Now, when a small amount of solute, that is your salt, is added in solvent, now I am going to pour water into the glass. So a small amount of water is added into the glass, and then I am going to take 1 or 2 spoons of salt, common salt in it, and start dissolving in this glass of water. What are you observing? That when a small amount of solute is added in a solvent, solute starts dissolving and it easily dissolves in solvent. So finally, I am observing that all salt has been dissolved in the water. Now if the addition of solute is kept on, अगर मैं मज़ीद इसमें salt ऐड करती चले जाऊँ, what happens then? For example, I added 3 more spoons in the glass. So at this point a stage is reached when solvent cannot dissolve any more solute. So let's check. Now at this stage further addition of solute remain undissolved and it settles down at the bottom of the container. Here you can see that salt is collected at the bottom. It will no more dissolve in the water. I am trying and trying, but it's failed. I cannot able to dissolve more amount of solute, that is salt, in water. So what is the reason behind why, as I have left and I'm watching from my side, that still some particles of the salts are settling at the bottom. So you can also observe. After leaving the glass for a while, now you can observe that adding more amount of solute will not be dissolved in solvent, which shows that this type of solution is called saturated solution. And what is a saturated solution? A solution containing maximum amount of solute at a given temperature is called saturated solution. So finally we can say that when solute dissolves in solvent, solution is formed. So this is solution, that is salt solution. And on the particle level we can also say a saturated solution is the one which undissolved solute is in equilibrium with the dissolved solute. So finally solute in the form of crystals becomes equals to the solute which are dissolved in this solvent. So at this stage the dynamic equilibrium is established. And what is dynamic equilibrium? Dynamic equilibrium means that on both sides of the reaction, that is the forward and the reverse reaction, they become equal to each other, in which the solute which is in the form of crystal and the solute which is now dissolved in the solvent or solution are at equilibrium, are at balance, in the balance now. And it is happening although the dissolution and as well as the crystallization continues at a given temperature, but the net amount of dissolved solute remain constant, that no more salt will be added, and if it is added then it will not be dissolved anymore. So finally we can conclude a saturated solution at dynamic equilibrium. So after observations you can finally conclude that saturated solution can be prepared by dissolving the solute into solvent, that is water, to form, which is a reversible reaction. This double arrow or these double arrows are indicating the basically reversible process, and to form solution. Which type of solution you have observed in the experiment? Salt solution. So in this reaction you can also observe when solute dissolve in solvent, solution is formed. But if the process will be reversed, what happens? अगर प्रोसेस को रिवर्स कर दिया जाए, सॉल्यूशन को दोबारा से आप इस तरह से हासिल करें कि सॉल्यूशन के जो मेन कंपोनेंट्स हैं सॉल्यूट और सॉल्वेंट वो दोबारा हासिल हो जाएं, देन इन दैट केस यू हैव टू डू द प्रोसेस कॉल्ड क्रिस्टलाइजेशन. सो व्हाट इज़ क्रिस्टलाइजेशन? इन क्रिस्टलाइजेशन सिंपली आपने क्या करना होगा कि जो सॉल्यूशन अभी आपने तैयार किया ग्लास के अंदर, जाहिर है आप ग्लास को तो हीट अप नहीं कर सकते, इसके लिए आप बीकर यूज़ कर सकते हैं. सो आप क्या करेंगे, आप बीकर में यही सॉल्ट सॉल्यूशन ले लीजिए और इसको हीट अप करें, गरम करें. क्लियर? इसको आपने हीट करना है. हीटिंग के नतीजे में आप क्या देखेंगे कि ये आपका सॉल्ट सॉल्यूशन आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कम होता चला जाएगा और एक वक्त ऐसा आएगा कि इसमें से मौजूद जितना भी सॉल्वेंट है यानी पानी है वो इवेपोरेट हो जाएगा, यानी इवेपोरेशन का प्रोसेस स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, जो आपने पिछले चैप्टर में भी समझा था। सो इवेपोरेशन के नतीजे में क्या होगा कि जो अंदर आपका आहिस्ता आहिस्ता जो वाटर का लेवल है वो डिक्रीज़ होता जाएगा, कम होता चला जाएगा, और एक वक्त ऐसा आएगा कि तमाम का तमाम आपका वाटर इवेपोरेट हो जाएगा और बॉटम में आपको सॉल्ट के क्रिस्टल्स नज़र आएंगे, सॉल्ट के सॉलिड पार्टिकल्स नज़र आएंगे। और ये सॉल्ट के पार्टिकल्स बेसिकली क्या हैं? सॉल्ट क्रिस्टल्स हैं, crystals. So the formation of crystals by heating or by providing heat to the salt solution, what happens? Evaporation occur, and finally the salt in the salt solution, water evaporates and leaving behind only the crystals of salt. This process in which the crystal of salt is formed or are formed is basically called crystallization. तो क्रिस्टलाइज हो जाएगा सोल्यूशन, और जब रिवर्स प्रोसेस में सोल्यूशन क्रिस्टलाइज होगा तो आपके जो सॉल्वेंट और सॉल्यूट हैं वो आपको अलग-अलग हासिल हो सकते हैं, जिसमें सॉल्वेंट आपका एनवायरनमेंट में शामिल हो जाएगा, जबकि सॉल्यूट बीकर के बॉटम पे इस तरीके से क्रिस्टल की शक्ल में डिपॉजिट या कलेक्ट हो जाएगा। So these two processes, which are called the dissolution and the crystallization, are taking place side by side, that is at the equal rate, and those type of reactions basically which are going forward and the reverse. Forward means when solute reacts with the solvent or solute dissolve in solvent to form solution, then it is called the dissolution, and when solution is heated it becomes crystallized, that is salt becomes crystallized. Then this type of reverse process in which the solution is changing back into the solute and solvent once again is called the crystallization. So I think it is clear to you now. So it is clear from this sort of reversible process that on particle level a saturated solution is the one in which undissolved solute is in equilibrium with the dissolved solute. And which do you think, on which side you are observing the undissolved and the dissolved solute? So solute plus solvent are actually the undissolved before the reaction, and after the reaction the dissolved solute will be formed in the form of solution. So this is the dissolved condition, and the 4 arrows it is undissolved. So we can say that what is dynamic equilibrium now. So we have a next or new terminology, but not exactly new for you because you have done it in the previous chapter of physical state of matter. So what is dynamic equilibrium? Dynamic equilibrium is that stage at which the dissolution, that is this one, dissolution and crystallization, both processes continued at a given temperature, but their net amount of dissolution of dissolved solute remains the constant. So when solute plus solvent equals to the solution, then at this stage solution can also be changed back into the solute plus solvent again. So if both processes, that is the forward and the reverse processes, are taking place at the same rate but in opposite direction, they will be called dynamic equilibrium. Last heading of saturated solution is example. So you will cover the topic of saturated solution under 4 different headings. The first heading is definition, second is preparation of saturated solution, third is dynamic equilibrium, and the fourth is example. For this purpose I am going to take another salt and prepare a saturated solution of that salt. So a saturated solution of sodium thiosulfate. Sodium thiosulfate having formula Na2S2O3 can be prepared by dissolving 20.9 gram of this solute or 20.9 gram of sodium thiosulfate. I am only writing salt in 100 centimeter cube of solvent, that is water, at a given temperature. अगर किसी भी सॉल्ट का आप पानी में सॉल्यूशन तैयार करना चाह रहे हैं और वो सॉल्यूशन आप सैचुरेटेड बनाना चाह रहे हैं, तो इसके लिए आप कोई भी सॉल्ट चूज़ करने के बाद, जैसे मैंने इस वक्त आपके सामने सोडियम थायोसल्फेट जो है वो मुंतखब किया और मैं चाह रही हूँ कि मैं इसका सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन बनाऊँ, तो इसके लिए मुझे क्या करना होगा, मैं इसकी एक स्पेसिफ़िक अमाउंट यानी 20.9 ग्राम लेने के बाद इसको, यानी ये अमाउंट कितनी है 20.9 ग्राम, इसको मैंने सॉल्वेंट में डिज़ोल्व करना है। और सॉल्वेंट के लिए मैंने क्या लिया है, वाटर लिया है। और सॉल्वेंट की मुझे कितनी मिकदार चाहिए जिससे मुझे एक सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन मिल जाए, तो ये 100 क्यूबिक सेंटीमीटर यानी 100 मिलीलीटर। और ये पूरा जो मेरा डिज़ोल्यूशन का प्रोसेस है ये कहाँ कब किस टेम्परेचर पे होगा, एट अ गिवन टेम्परेचर, यानी जो आपके कमरे का रूम का टेम्परेचर होता है, अप्रॉक्सीमेटली टेम्परेचर कितना होता है, सो आई एम राइटिंग दैट टेम्परेचर एट अबाउट 20 डिग्री Celsius. So this is the room temperature. So in this way you can make your saturated solution. Now another type of solution is called unsaturated solution. After saturated solution we have two different types of solution. The second one is unsaturated and the third one is supersaturated solution. So first, definition. What is an unsaturated solution? So you have to define first. So according to the definition, a solution that contains or which contains lesser amount, lesser means smaller, lesser amount of solute than that is required or that then is needed, जो भी आप लिख दें, needed to saturate it at a given temperature. सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन के बाद अब हमारी जो नेक्स्ट टाइप आ रही है सॉल्यूशन की, वो कहलाती है अनसैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन, जिसे हम गैर सैरशुदा महलूल भी कहते हैं। गैर सैरशुदा महलूल यानी एक ऐसा मिक्सचर जिसमें सॉल्यूट की मिकदार कम रखी जाती है, इतनी कम रखी जाती है जितनी सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन बनाने के लिए दरकार होती है। सो एग्जाम्पल will clear this concept. For this purpose I am taking the help from this example of saturated solution. So an unsaturated solution, same you will apply the same example in this way with little bit changes. An unsaturated solution can be prepared again, which I am taking the same salt of sodium thiosulfate Na2S2O3 is prepared by डिज़ोल्यूशन और बाय डिज़ोल्विंग हल करना है, ठीक है। बाय डिज़ोल्विंग लेस देन द अमाउंट, लेस देन हाउ मच, 20.9 ग्राम, यानी अब हमने 20.9 ग्राम से कम मिकदार लेनी है और इस कम मिकदार को भी हमने किस में डिज़ोल्व करना है, ऑफ सॉल्ट इन, किस में डिज़ोल्व करेंगे, इन 100 cubic centimeter of water, again at a given temperature. So this will become the next example, which indicates that for making or for preparing unsaturated solution you need less than 20.9 gram. You can take like 10 grams, 15 grams, but it will not exactly 20.9. It will always be less than 20.9 gram. Then you can able to prepare your unsaturated solution. Third type of solution is supersaturated solution. Supersaturated solution. For this, the first you have to write down definition. How you will define the solution that is more concentrated, the solution that is more concentrated than saturated solution, is called supersaturated solution. Now what is the meaning of this definition? Supersaturated solution एक ऐसा solution है जिसमें solute की मिकदार सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन को बनाने वाले सॉल्यूट की मिकदार से कहीं ज़्यादा होती है, जिसकी वजह से ये सॉल्यूशन कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड हो जाता है, यानी बहुत ज़्यादा प्योर सॉल्यूशन हम उसको कहते हैं जिसमें, या कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड सॉल्यूशन उसको कहते हैं जिसमें सॉल्यूट की मिकदार ज़्यादा और सॉल्वेंट की मिकदार कम रह जाए. सो फॉर दिस पर्पस यू नीड the next heading in the form of explanation, so you can understand the definition of supersaturated solution. So when saturated solutions are heated, for this purpose what are you going to do? Heat your saturated solution. आपने saturated solution को गर्म करना है. जो भी solution आपने तैयार किया है जिसमें maximum amount में solute मौजूद है, अगर आप उसको गर्म करें तो दे डेवलप फर्दर कैपेसिटी टू डिज़ोल्व मोर सॉल्यूट. उनमें क्या कैपेसिटी आ जाएगी? दे हैव मोर कैपेसिटी टू, उनमें मज़ीद ये गुंजाइश पैदा हो जाएगी टू डिज़ोल्व मोर सॉल्यूट. जैसा कि मैंने अभी आपको एक्सपेरिमेंटल एक्टिविटी में बताया कि जो सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन आपने बनाया, अगर आप उसको गर्म करें, गर्म करने पे जो बॉटम पे आपने सॉल्ट देखा था वो मज़ीद क्या होगा उस गर्म करने से, वो भी आपके उस सॉल्यूशन या वाटर के अंदर डिज़ोल्व हो जाएगा. तो ऐसा सॉल्यूशन जिसमें सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन को गर्म करने पे मज़ीद गुंजाइश बन जाए कि आप मज़ीद सॉल्यूट उसमें ऐड कर सकें या हल कर सकें, तो इस तरह का सॉल्यूशन आपका सुपर सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन होता है. सो दे हैव मोर कैपेसिटी टू डिज़ोल्व सॉल्यूट इन दैम. इज दिस थिंग क्लियर? नाउ सच सॉल्यूशन कंटेन ग्रेटर अमाउंट ऑफ सॉल्यूट दैन is required to form a saturated solution, and that's why they become more concentrated. So the next point is related to it कि इनमें ज़्यादा amount में solute होता है. So it has a greater amount of solute. इन solution की ख़ास बात ये होती है कि इनमें solute की मिकदार कहीं ज़्यादा होती है as compared to than that is required or needed to make saturated solution at a given temperature. Now this time the temperature is too much, not at room temperature. And finally we can say now the solution becomes concentrated. अब आपका जो solution है यानी सुपर सैचुरेटेड सोल्यूशन वो इतना कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड हो गया है, प्योर हो गया है कि इसमें सॉल्यूट ज़्यादा और सॉल्वेंट की मिकदार कम नज़र आ रही है. So these sort of solutions are not very much stable. So we can also say that ये solution ज़्यादा stable नहीं होते. Therefore, an easy way to get a supersaturated solution is to prepare a saturated solution at high temperature. लिहाजा इनको बनाने के लिए, इनको तैयार करने के लिए हमेशा हम सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन की हेल्प लेते हैं. इन्हीं सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशंस को जब हम हीटअप करते हैं, गर्म करते हैं, तो इसके नतीजे में जैसे जैसे सॉल्यूट क्रिस्टलाइज हो रहे होते हैं एंड लीविंग बिहाइंड द सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन, तो इसका मतलब यही हुआ कि जैसे जैसे सॉल्यूट ऐड होते चले जाते हैं या उनकी क्रिस्टलाइजेशन होती चली जाती है, हमारा सुपर सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन तैयार होता चला जाता है और एट द एंड हमें एक कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड यानी प्योर फॉर्म ऑफ सॉल्यूशन हासिल हो जाता है. नाउ द लास्ट हेडिंग of supersaturated solution will be example. For this purpose you will take same example which you have already given for saturated and unsaturated solution. So a solution or a supersaturated solution is that one, a solution having or containing or that contains, you can also write, more amount of solute, Now again I am taking the same salt Na2S2O3, sodium thiosulphate. So more amount of solute than 20.9 gram of this salt per 100 cubic centimeter of water at about room temperature, which is 20 degrees Celsius, will be considered or will be a supersaturated solution. यानी इस दफ़ा आपने क्या करना है supersaturated solution के लिए? सिंपल थिंग आपने ये करना है कि जो हमने सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन तैयार किया है, फॉर एग्जांपल यू हैव टेकन अ बीकर एंड इन विच यू हैव ऑलरेडी प्रिपेयर्ड योर सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन, एंड व्हाट इज़ द स्पेसिफिक feature about the saturated solution? That some of the solutes or particle of solute will be settled down at the bottom of the beaker. So this is your saturated solution. Now after providing heat to this solution, when you will heat up the solution, what happened to this saturated solution? That the particles which are settled to the bottom, which were previously settled to the bottom, now they will dissolve in the water, they will dissolve in the solution, and no more particle will be left behind. So all solute will be dissolved equally in the water. So at this stage, when you will add more amount of solute, that is sodium thiosulphate, which is greater than 20.9, for example I will add 23 grams of salt, then what will you observe? Then after giving and providing heat to the beaker, still this saturated solution has the capacity to dissolve more solute in it, and this is because to provide heating to this saturated solution. So you can prepare your supersaturated solution by providing and by giving heat to this saturated solution, and finally these sort of solutions develop in them the capacity to dissolve more amount of solute, and such solutions contain greater amount of solute than is required to form a saturated solution, and they become more concentrated. So in this way, this solution becomes the supersaturated solution, and this is the specific thing about the supersaturated solution, that they are concentrated. They are concentrated. That is the pure form of solution containing more amount of solute, maximum or more than maximum amount of solute. So this is the end of today's lesson. I hope you have understood it. These are related to the main types of solution. In the next lesson, I will give you the next lesson or lecture about the dilution of solution and the types of solution depending upon the physical states. So Allah Hafiz.